Hey everyone, it's Brandy and you are watching Abstract Crafter. We're coming at you today with a drill with me on this beautiful canvas. I have some updates, a couple of other little things. I'm going to finish up the Storytime YouTube tag. And yeah, so if that sounds good to you, grab something to drink, grab either your diamond painting or your craft project or whatever it is that you are working on, and let's get started as soon as we roll those intro credits. All right, guys, let's get into this. So this is the elephant quote that was part of that 2-pack from, I think it was Annexy store. It came with the lion that had another quote on it. I'll put a picture right up in the corner really quick while we're talking so you can get a refresher on what it is. So we're going to work on this, and I've been doing this one by doing one whole color and then moving on. So then what I do is I just flip it upside down in my little thing. So we're going to keep doing that. That's why I'm not super zoomed in, but I figure you're not actually here to watch me for technique. I say this a lot of times, but if you're here for technique, you are at the wrong video, my friend. This is simply for us to chit-chat and work together. And really, it's me chit-chatting to you and you listening, but that's what a good friend does, isn't it? You just listen. So, we'll get started in just a second. I'm just getting a few things put together, and my cat is over off to the side here. He's trying to sneak into film. My little baby black cat, I don't know if you guys remember that. I got him probably right after I started my channel, but yeah, he's trying to come up here. He's right over there scratching at the wall. So, let's see. I'm trying to decide how I want to seat myself because I don't have the space I typically have when I diamond paint that I do when I film diamond painting. But I think what we're gonna do is, just to make it a little bit easier, maybe we'll just work on this area here since there's a lot of this letter J. I'll show you. And there's some A scattered in there, but there was like 3 big long tubes of J. So I thought maybe we'll work through this bottom part, maybe up to the letters. I don't really want to move all around, which is why I'm suggesting that. I could probably zoom in a little bit for that. That way I can do that without putting too much thought into it. I can just drill and go, you know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just going through the thought process with you. But I do want to point out how cute I think they did on this. It reminds me so much of the cross stitch game, the app. I don't know if any of you guys know what I'm talking about. If I can, I'll try to put in a screenshot of it. I don't really know how to screenshot on my phone. Not yet, anyway. On my other phone, it was super easy, my last camera that I used. So I'm going to down this 5-hour energy here, and we'll get started. I got a couple updates. I got work in progress I wanted to share with you guys. I think that's about it. And then we'll get into this YouTube tag. I'm not limiting myself on time. I am aiming for at least an hour, just because I like longer videos when I'm drilling and listening. At least an hour for myself. I don't know. I just don't like having to stop and start a new video, or if I don't have a playlist ready. That's typically what I do, is get a playlist ready. I'm already rambling. Okay. Bring it down a little, Brandy. Okay, so I'm going to down this 5-hour energy, and we will get right into this, and I'll start letting you know. I probably will pause and zoom in just a little bit since we're going to focus on this. I just wanted you to be able to see the whole picture so far and how cute it is. And then, before we do that, I was in the middle of saying that this reminds me of that cross stitch app. And I wanted to show you why. So in that app, you'll see like right up in here how there's all these different colors that border it. That's exactly what that app reminds me of. And it's a, oops, sorry about that. I threw my comb off camera and it made a big noise. It's a ridiculously addicting game and I don't even know how it happened. Anyway, so yeah, we're not going to worry about the A's. We're just going to work on the J's. And like I said, hopefully get to here, but at least start in this area and try to get the trunk and below. Maybe cut off right there. I don't know. We'll see what happens when we actually get started and how much I can get done. Doing just one color, it goes a lot faster, believe it or not. That's why I really don't mind when there's a big area of color like that. And it's kind of nice that they broke it up with another color. Okay, so I'm going to pause. You won't even notice. I'm going to do a bunch of things, and in a split second, we'll just be drilling. Okay, we're about as good as we're going to get. So, if you've never seen one of my drill with me's, the way I like to do it, I typically like to format it in 3 sections. I like to do updates, like channel updates, life updates that I want to share with you guys, just updates in general. And then I like to do something a little fun and talk about obsessions, something that I am obsessing over at this time. Could be food, could be a product, it could be literally anything. It's my way of being able to share a little bit more about me with you through the things that I am obsessing over. And my obsessions go that quick, where I can have a new obsession. I could have a new obsession every day, depending on the item. And then we get into either a story or I do a tag. Most of the time it's been a tag. I think maybe once or twice I've done a story. And a few times I've just kind of rambled and just talked about whatever was on the top of my mind. So we'll start with updates. I don't have a ton of updates, but so I had taken 2 weeks off. Let's start there. I'd taken 2 weeks off. I had initially thought I was only going to need a week off, but I'm going through a lot of changes, and so is my family. So in the last one I talked about I was having some issues with my chest and my heart, and I wasn't really sure what was going on with that. So I've done all the testing for that. I've gotten that all done and out of the way. I actually go in tomorrow for results, which is actually the day that you guys will be seeing this. Okay, and I'm going to pause myself. I'm going to try very hard not to get my head in view, but I don't have my screen set up in front of me to see if I'm getting in my own way, so please forgive me in advance. I shouldn't need to because it's a fairly easy area, but okay, so unpause. So yeah, I was doing some stuff at with the hospital, getting some testing done. I did a stress test. It was done with cardiolite, which is like I am probably going to be very wrong. I want to say it's like a radioactive isotope that they inject into you through your IV, and it lights up your heart so that they can see how it's working, I guess. So I get a series of pictures taken at rest. So for 15 minutes they take a crap ton of pictures. I think it was like every 22 seconds of my heart at rest with this cardiolite in. Then I get on the treadmill and I do the stress test, and it's a series of, it's like a 5-step series basically, I guess, where you are on the treadmill for 3 minutes, or yeah, we'll say 3 minutes. You're on the treadmill for 3 minutes, and it increases in intensity and incline at every step. I didn't even make it to step 4 out of 5. The first 3 were just fast walking. The last 2 were jogging. And by the 3rd one, I was already getting dizzy, and I was having burning in my chest, and and that could be from being a long time smoker too. Either way, I wasn't able to move past that. So then they give me another injection of the cardiolite, and then they take some more pictures after activity. So I find out what all of that told the doctor tomorrow, the day that this comes out. So hopefully with the next chatting video, and I'll tell you why I say chatting video in a second. In the next chatty type video, I should have some answers. So that was fun. And then I have 3 kids, which most of you know. 2 teenagers and 1 is a preteen. Well, my daughter is almost 16. She'll be 16 in less than a month. I have a 19-year-old who will be 20 in September. And then my youngest is 12. He just turned 12 in January. Well, they both, my daughter, Haley, she got braces last year. So she's had braces for a little while. Well, now it's Talon's turn. And that's my youngest. He is going to get braces sometime this month. But the poor kid has a ton of crowding. So first they need to do a little surgery to take out a few teeth to make room to straighten out the teeth. But not only that, but in the way back, the tooth right, like the furthest tooth back, if you don't have wisdom teeth, it would be your last tooth. If you do have wisdom teeth, whether they have grown in or not, it would be right next to them. Well, they're growing sideways. One is literally turned completely sideways. So, yeah, they're talking about possibly turning them surgically, and oh, it's such a mess. So I had a lot. That's why I ended up taking an extra week off, is we had to go in and do some consults for that stuff and get things set up. And so I just wanted to be able to focus on all the things that my kids had going on, and focus on the stress test and all the other tests that I had to do. And not that you guys are a bad distraction, or my channel is a bad distraction, but it can be, and it can be a way for me to completely just tune out of what's going on. And I just really needed to focus. I'm really a flighty person, so I just wanted to be able to focus on what the kids needed and what I needed to get done, and take care of all of that, and then, you know, come back when I didn't have so many distractions, because it probably does show in my videos that I've been distracted and I've had a lot on my mind, and I can only assume that the quality wasn't quite there. I could be just being a little bit over picky, I guess, like reading too much into the situation, but I like to have a certain quality to my videos, the best that I possibly can provide, and I just know that it wasn't there. I wasn't focused. I've been neglecting my channel, my group, my Instagram, because there is just too much going on. And so for me, when there's a lot going on, it's easier for me to just shut down. And that's kind of what I was starting to do. And not like in a depressive episode kind of way, though there is a lot of that too, but more in a overload sensation kind of way. And so when I feel overloaded or stressed, that's what I do. That's just the way it's always been for me. It's not something I'm proud of or that I like about myself, but it does happen, and it is a thing. So I just thought, before that happens, before I shut down and maybe don't want to pursue my channel at all, because that can happen too, or I think about the one thing that, like, I do this for me, and I do it to connect with you guys, and so in a way it's a bit of a selfish thing. Not a bad selfish. Selfish can be good, but it can be bad. But it was a good selfish, and I thought, well, this is the other stuff is about my family, so I need to turn my attention to them, and it's not about me right now. Well, the cardiac stuff and the heart stuff is about me, but you know what I mean. You know, so I thought, well, the things that are for me are less important. So if anybody ever says that I'm just doing this for the money, I'd like to see them take 2 weeks off without worrying about that or thinking about that. Sorry, that's going into a whole nother topic. I guess you can kind of guess why I say that, or why I might have said that, because that's something that's been thrown out there, not just necessarily about me per se, in a general aspect, that, oh, you put ads in your videos because you're greedy, because you just do this for the money. Anybody who does YouTube for the money is not going to get very far, I can tell you that much, because the money ain't that good. But that does bring me back to, so yeah, as you can tell, that was me concluding that portion of the story. That was the update. And I'm just gonna back away from that other topic because that's a sticky situation, and I don't really like discussing finances on YouTube as it is. So the only thing I will for sure say about it is that my channel, the money that my channel made, specifically my Amazon influencer page, was enough to pay for Amazon Project Part 2, and all of those videos have been filmed and will be coming out. I'm going to try not to put them out as frequently as I did in the last one. Like, I did a lot of those back to back, and I think I only spread it out over 2 weeks. So I'm going to try to do that, like, I guess with only 5 videos, it's kind of hard to not with only 5 videos, it's not like I can spread it out super far. There we go. And anyway, you'll hear more about that in that series of videos about how Project Amazon came to be for part 2. I think I called it Iteration 2. And so for updates, now I want to backtrack a little bit to something that I said earlier about the next chatty video. So I had mentioned this in one of my previous Drill With Me's, and it is something that is going to be a thing on my channel now. Diamond painting, while it may be fun, it's not something that I feel is going to be long term for my channel. I just don't think I can provide enough content in the way of diamond painting to continue to put out the amount of videos. Like, I try to do 3 to 4 videos a week, and I just don't think, because I'm not ordering a lot. I haven't been anyway. Like, I haven't ordered from AliExpress since last year. So I'm not ordering a lot. I don't have a lot coming in the way of, like, a bunch of unboxings, and post reviews will be when I get things done. And it's not like I finish one of those every week either. I mean, I could if I just bought tiny ones, but I have so many big ones. So, knowing that, I wanted to start, and I've said it so many times, I've talked about it, but I just never actually made that plunge to actually do it. But I want to start incorporating, like, more crafty stuff, more specifically, I guess, cross stitch, and maybe some craft kits, something like that. Sorry, I had to count there. Hopefully I got that right. I will go back and tear out diamonds if I place them wrong, so silly. So back to what I was gonna say. So I'm gonna do, it's gonna be, there'll be Drill With Me's, and I want to try to do switch, like, rotate them out. So 1 week we'll have a Drill With Me, which will be with the diamond paintings, and maybe even I could do that 2 weeks in a row, and then, or do a diamond painting. Okay, anyway, I'm skewing my thoughts here. So the plan is, let's just start with that, is we're gonna do Drill With Me videos. Obviously that's with diamond painting, and then I want to do craft and chats. So it'll be me like just working on crafts. Like I like to do rock painting, and then you put messages, like encouraging messages on them, like kind of like quotes, but not like the ones I put in the beginning of my videos, just more like 5 words or less type quotes. There's a lot of those, like you are beautiful, or don't forget you're beautiful, or you are loved, that kind of thing. Just kind of more uplifting and encouraging words. And so I'd like to put those on, paint those on rocks. So I thought, you know, that might be fun while I, you know, it's not something that I need to do a tutorial on per se. So I could be painting my rocks or whatever the craft might be, and then just chit-chatting in the same style that we do the diamond painting. So you could still work on diamond paintings during these specific types of videos. But then there will also be like craft tutorials, maybe like craft kit, first impression type videos. So, you know, kind of getting into some more of that kind of stuff. And then also doing some stitching videos. I just don't know what to call those ones yet. I'm trying to figure out like a play on words that go with cross stitch. But basically, a stitch and chat video, or stitch with me type video. Very obviously just like that, the diamond painting, but with cross stitch. So those are the 3 types of chatty videos I want to do. So I could do it, you know, one of 2 ways. I could just rotate all 3 of them out. You know, obviously one week do diamond painting, and then the next week do a craft and chat, and then the next week do the cross stitch chatty videos, and then go back and start over with diamond painting. Or because I work on diamond paintings more often, I could do a diamond painting, a crafting video, a diamond painting, a stitching video, and then keep going in that direction. So I haven't quite decided. If you have a preference of that, you can let me know down in the comments if you want an equal amount, or if you'd prefer more drill with me type videos. Or, and I know other people call them a lot of things like whip and chat, or diamond paint with me, or paint with me. You know, everybody has their own little thing that they like to call them. I just like to call them drill with me's, because the first one I ever watched before I started my channel was a drill with me, and so it just kind of stuck for me per se. So whatever people call them it's fine. You know, it's all the same to me. It's good to have our own unique titles for these types of videos. You know, it makes us stand out, makes us stand apart. So, let's see. I think that's that's about all I have as far as channel updates. Oh, one last thing, because I did mention about the Project Amazon, and I do mention it in that video too, in the first, at least the first one, that I did not forget about other stores like Wish, and my mind's drawing a blank as far as the other places go. Maybe, I think Baaaccck was one of them, and then there was another one. Basically, that kind of stuff, it's all like third party, so it doesn't all come in at once. I mean, Amazon doesn't either, but I also have Prime where I'm guaranteed 2-day shipping, so I know I'm not going to be waiting forever. So even though I ordered from these other stores a long time ago, not everything has come in for them yet, but everything for the second iteration of Project Amazon has. So I didn't want to keep delaying, and I went with that first. And I do explain that in that video too, in case, you know, people don't watch this and they only watch that. But as soon as I get everything from the other stores that I ordered from, then of course I'll immediately film. And I thought about just filming it in pieces, you know, as they come in, but I really like to film them all together, like Project Amazon, for example. I film all 5 together because it's easier for me to remember from store to store. You know, I'm doing it as one project So it's easier for me to have them all done at once, where I can remember the things from the previous store, kind of use the same types of guidelines for myself, I guess. I don't know. It's really hard to explain my thought process, but it boils down to I just like doing them all at once. And it's kind of nice for the wrap up video too, because then everything's still fresh in my mind as far as, you know, what the scores were for each store, for things like that. And that also, I guess that does bring me to a couple more points. So I do have some more. So as far as scoring goes, I did try with Project Amazon, and then a post review that I have coming out this week as well on Toolstation. I did try doing the scoring off camera and then just coming back, letting you know the score, and then if the points weren't, if they lost points for any specific reason, I just talked about it that way instead of going through it point by point. So I just wanted to try that out and see how it goes. For those of you that don't really care for the scoring, don't find it useful, etc., etc. So that I could kind of accommodate both worlds, the people that do like the scoring and the people that don't. I'm going to do the scoring whether you guys want to see it or not. It's something that I just like. It's my way of being able to compare them to each other in a way. So I can see how they compare to like store to store and painting to painting, stuff like that. So there's that. Also, all the videos that I've talked about doing, like how to shop on AliExpress, I might even do how to shop on Amazon, all of that stuff is still coming. I do not forget about that. I do not plan on leaving any of that out. I didn't film anything while I was on my little hiatus. So I did not forget about anything or anyone, and I haven't checked in on my Facebook page or on my Instagram either. I want to work on that. I'm not the best. I actually thought about shutting down my Facebook group because I don't give it the attention it deserves. So I don't know yet if I will or if I won't, or if I'll just close it to new members for now. I haven't decided what to do there. Just, I don't know. I want to give it more attention. It's just Facebook in general. I don't like the platform. Plus, every single reason that I said before that of why I don't like Facebook. You know, I just don't. It seems like such a fake place. You know, not my group. I'm not saying that. My personal Facebook. It just, after a while, it just kind of turned me off from wanting to use it. And I do enjoy Instagram. I just kind of get tired of having to put hashtags in all the time. And I have seen people run very successful Instagram pages without hashtags, but I'm also one of those kind of people that can't just, and excuse my language, I can't half-ass it. You know, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it all. I'm not just going to pick the pieces of it that I like and just do that. So I don't know. These are just random thoughts. Nothing I'm saying is set in stone. I like having my Facebook group because I love seeing what you guys are working on. And I love having a place where I can take a picture of what I'm working on and share it. Or there was an instance where I was having issues with beads and I wanted to vent about it. So I just flipped on my camera, filmed a quick 10-minute video and posted it. You know, where I didn't have to make a whole video and then edit it and then upload it to YouTube. So I do like it for that reasons. And like I said, I do love seeing what you guys are working on. It's my way of being able to connect with you on a deeper, more intimate level. And before you get weirded out about the word intimate, it doesn't necessarily mean what people think it means. So intimate literally just means a closeness. I actually wrote a whole paper on the word intimacy and what it really means. So that's why I harp on that a little bit as I say it. So anyway, back to I'm trying to think if I have anything else that I want to add as far as my channel and updates and stuff go. Oh, a big one. I can't even believe I was going to mention this first, and I can't even believe I almost forgot to mention it. We are like less than 40 people away from hitting 3,000. That's nuts. I didn't expect to even get 100. So I think I've been on YouTube for a year. I think I'm at 9 months now. So I think I'm a little shy of a year. So to get that many people in a year is unreal. And I know other people have had more success than me. Like my dear friend Donnie, she's had tremendous success. And I know that she does contribute some of that to her, not only her Facebook group, but her pen store. I'm not going to make a pen store, guys, to get more subscribers. And that's not why she did it either. So don't think that. But that was just a thought that came into my mind as I was talking about it. I did not mean for the two to go hand in hand. That's, you gotta just know that about me. Sometimes I'll say a word and it'll trigger something else. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's even related to the thing I said before. So no, Donnie didn't start making pens to gain subscribers. She did it because she found joy in it. And the more she did it, the more people wanted them. And it just turned into a beautiful business for her, which is amazing. So anyway, not related to Donnie, but and some other channels have gained more subscribers, but I'm okay with where I'm at. You know, I'm not doing this to win some subscriber race. I'm not doing this to, you know, get 10,000 subs. I don't need that for validation, I guess. I mean, obviously I want you to subscribe. I encourage you to hit the subscribe button. It helps me so much. Like, in general, you have no idea how much it helps YouTubers to hit the like button, to subscribe. It gives them more visibility, and obviously I want to reach as many people as possible. So hitting the like button, that's why you hear YouTubers ask for it so much. It's because it does help a ton. And I've never, like, asked for subscribers before because I always felt so silly. Like, I've never been one at the end of my videos to be like, don't forget to like and subscribe. But obviously that's what I want. You know, it's hard because I just said, you know, it doesn't validate me to have more subscribers, but having more subscribers helps the channel. So it gives me more visibility. It allows companies to see me easier, to want to work with me. It helps to get my video to reach more people, that kind of stuff. So I don't ask for it, but I do appreciate it. There we go. And since we're so close to 3,000, I am going to say that I'm going to be doing a giveaway for, it'll probably be closer, I want to say it's for 3,000, but it probably won't happen as soon as I hit 3,000, just because I have to get some stuff in. I'm going to try to open it, not going to try, I am going to open it international because the prizes won't be physical. They're going to be like gift cards and stuff. You won't know the denominations, but I tell you, the giveaway will be worth it. And I'm going to have 3 winners for this giveaway because 3,000, 3 winners. But I might have some physical, and then if you're international, I would just convert that to a gift card. So I haven't hashed out all the details because when I checked today, I did not expect to be so close to 3,000. That's why I say it'll be for 3,000, but it probably won't happen right at 3,000 just because I didn't expect that. So I didn't start getting the stuff I wanted to get for the giveaways. But there is going to be 3 winners for sure. And I do want to spread it across my platforms, but then again I don't because it's for YouTube. So I think I'm going to try to come up with some different milestones. If I decide to keep my Facebook group and my Instagram page, some different milestones for those platforms and then do giveaways separate on them. Like I said, I haven't hashed out all the details because I didn't expect to be here. I never expected to be here, honestly. So that will be coming. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so that you can be a part of the giveaway. And hitting the bell notifications helps so that you know when I upload videos, so that you know when the giveaway goes live. And that's my little spiel. I don't know if it's something that I'll start asking in all my videos, but if I do, you'll know why. You know, to like and subscribe and hit the bell notifications. It's just nice to get out there, to reach more people, to get this particular craft more visible. Now, like my other crafts, obviously, they don't need any more attention, but diamond painting, the bigger it gets, oh, I don't know. There's so much I can say about that. I guess the bigger that this little craft gets, the more availability that we're going to get, the more variety we're going to get. I think, though, I don't know. We'll stop there because I do want to get into this tag, and I want to share something with you that I've been working on, and it'll actually be what features in my first cross-stitch chat video. And for the love of God, if you have a clever name like Stitch With Me, something like that rolls off the tongue, like Craft and Chat, Drill With Me, something like that. Like Stitch With Me just doesn't have that ring for me. It just doesn't strike me as fun or interesting. So something that's more interesting than that. If you have any suggestions or what, now I won't copy other channels, but let me know what other channels call their stitching videos, because that might spark an idea for me. But I want to show you, I've been working on this kit. I'm grabbing it, that's why I'm not drilling. Show you the picture first, and then I'll show you my progress on it. I'm going to start out by telling you this is a Realis kit, and for somebody who is as in the beginner stages as I am, Realis kits are hard. And I don't know if this is true across the board, but okay, so I gotta stand up and I gotta look in my viewfinder to make sure you're seeing it. Okay, so here's the image. Isn't that adorable? Ah! I'll show you the other one that I want. It goes kind of with it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. There we go. I want this one. I found it on Amazon, but I haven't ordered it yet because I want to get this one done first. But isn't that just the cutest freaking thing? I was hoping to get it done by Easter, but there's just no way that's gonna happen. No way, no how. All right, so I want to make sure I don't want to set that in. Let's just bring this plastic cover down. I don't want it to get stuck. Okay, so there she is. I'll show you my progress. It's not far. And this has taken me close to a week. It's this part of the bunny right here is what this is. So you can kind of see that. This white line that goes right through here is right there. But this has got it's half stitches, back stitches, cross stitches. And the reason that this is so hard is it's wool acrylic. The thread. So you can see here that it's twisted and there's two lines on there. And when I first started, I thought that you take that and separate it, but as I was trying to, you know how you do with like a standard like DMC threads, for example, have 6 strands on them, and you can separate them out to get basically 6 pieces of string. You can't do that with this. It starts breaking. So as I was like trying to take it apart, it just kept like shredding on me. And so I hope I did it right, and I hope that's just how it is. It's supposed to be one strand. Like if I can find my little cheat sheet here. Yeah, so most of them are, most of them are this one with one strand. And then, so that's what I thought I needed to separate these two. Hold steady, Brandy. But it's just not possible. And so 2 strands, I figured, then you just layer, like if it was, like, because there's a lot of combination colors, like 18, well, let's say, 20 and 21, you would use a piece of each. And I'm like, gosh, that's going to be so thick. So if I run out, then I guess I did it wrong and I'll have to buy more. But I don't think that's wrong. If you've done one of these kits, specifically the wool acrylic cross stitch kits, let me know if I am in fact right, that you don't separate out those strings. I was going to talk more about that in the actual stitching video, but that's like 2 weeks out, so I'm not there yet. But that's what I've been working on. I'll do that during the day, and then I'll work on my diamond paintings at night. Alright, let's get this plastic pulled back. And I have no idea where all of that... Oh, that was the last thing that I wanted to talk about before we get into the YouTuber Storytime Tag is what it's called. And I know Stitcherista did it. My dear friend Jennifer Roberts with DP Addiction Adventures. I'm so sorry, Jennifer. I always get mixed up on your name. She's done this tag. Other people might have done this tag, but I don't remember. I just specifically remember them two doing it. So I started it last time, and I only did 2 questions. A time you embarrassed yourself playing sports, and what was the other one? Oh, a time you were surprised. And I talked about how my husband proposed to me. And then I talked about my embarrassing sports injury. And that was in the last video. So we'll keep going on with this. There's some of these, though, that are just not... I don't have a story for. Like, a holiday catastrophe. I've never really had a holiday catastrophe, so I don't have a story for it. I mean, yeah, there's been like mishaps and stuff, but nothing that equates to a whole story or anything. So stuff like that I won't do, and I'll probably jump around a little bit on the tag itself. But I think at this point I am going to pause. I need to go grab some coffee, get resituated, make sure the kids don't need anything, as I'm about, I mean, I don't know how much time it'll show on the actual YouTube video, but as of filming, I'm 40 minutes in, and my throat is starting to get dry, so I want to go take care of that. I'm trying not to do, when I do these videos, I try not to do much in the way of editing, and just to try to be a little bit more authentic. And obviously I didn't mention it, but I try to keep a picture up in the corner of the thing that I'm working on. But, oh my god, and I forgot to mention this. I was jumping around so much in the beginning when I was talking about that cross-stitch game app. But I wanted to say how much I love the way that they did this. Like, you can see the little cheek color. I think that was, like, the absolute perfect color to use for that. I mean, that is so effing cute. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go grab some coffee. You won't even notice, but maybe my voice will sound better. Okay, 1 second, friends. Okay, let's get back into it. So I think maybe, depending on the length of my stories, I'll try to do 2 to 3. I'm kind of looking this over, and I'll bring it over so you can kind of see it. Now, if there's one on here that looks good to you, that I don't talk about, let me know. Well, I have kind of a story where 11 and 14 kind of go together. It's not a very long story, but I can do that one well. I think of, like, I got a good one for 5. I got a good one for 3. Number 1 is just stupid. I lied to my parents a lot. I was a bad child. I lied about everything. That doesn't make me sound very good. I was just a bad child, and I lied to get away with either cigarette smoking. I mean, I didn't, like, get arrested or anything like that. I wasn't that kind of bad child. I was just rebellious. I was a free spirit. And my dad was very strict. My mom worked nights, so I would try to get away with stuff. So that's not very good because there's not enough of any specific story that I can think of where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember lying to my dad about that. So let's we'll talk a little bit about the day everything went wrong and that time you tried out for something, but instead we'll combine it to be like that time you wanted to try out for something, but everything kept going wrong. Okay, so I had been doing, I don't know if I watched a movie or I saw a documentary. It was something about roller derby. And I was watching this and I was completely infatuated. And so then I, of course, started doing more research. But I mean, at this time, the internet was still kind of new. It wasn't like what it is today, that's for sure. And this was, gosh, really speaking to my age, probably about, we'll say 15 years ago. No, it was probably like 18 years ago. But we'll say 15 because that sounds like a little bit of a better number. So I knew nothing, you know, I was like, oh, that's got to be a big city thing. And so, no, I think it was a little bit more recent than 15. We'll say 10, because I know I was with my husband. And the reason I know this is reasons that we'll get into why I never became a roller derby girl. So, you know, everything about the whole world I was attracted to, from the names that the girls would come up for themselves, to the outfits, to just the sport in general. Like, girls don't have a lot of contact sports like that. You know, to me, it's equivalent to boys football. You know, they get to, like, smash each other, or hockey, I guess. You know, girls' sports are generally more laid back. You don't get that aggressive contact sport for women. I mean, there are, and don't get me wrong, there are leagues here and there, but there's not like a dedicated sport for women in that way. You know, it's not even a thought. It's for men. No, obviously you're probably sensing a little bit of feminism in my voice, or feminism-esque attitude. I'm not quite a feminist, but I'm huge on equal rights for women. So if that makes me a feminist, I guess that's what I am, but I don't consider myself a feminist. I think everybody, women, men, all races, I think everybody deserves equal rights. You know, we're all humans and we should all be able to be treated equally as humans. As such, I was super attracted to roller derby. I've always been into sports. You know, I've always played different sports. I played basketball as a youngster. I played football with the neighborhood kids. I had a kickball club I had mentioned before. I played a little bit of baseball, softball. You know, you name it, I dabbled in it. And so I made a post on Facebook, and this was when I was still not hating Facebook. But I made a post on Facebook about how I had been looking into roller derby and how much it excited me, and I asked if anybody knew of any teams in the area, if anybody was doing roller derby in my area. You know, I was always one to ask before I did the research, because when I start researching something, it can go for hours, it can go for days, and occasionally weeks and months, depending on the subject or the topic. Sometimes it'll just change my entire life. And so I thought I'd ask before I dove into it, got my hopes up, researching roller derby, and then not being able to do anything about it. So 2 of my friends actually contacted me and told me that there was actually a team in my town, which just surprised the crap out of me. And by my town, I should say that a lot of times it'll be, because we're considered the Twin Ports, it's Duluth Superior, and so a lot of times it's not Superior such and such or Duluth such and such, it's Twin Ports. So most of the time you'll find that, like in this case it was Twin Ports. I don't remember the roller derby team name off the top of my head right now, but one of my friends knew somebody that played on the in the league on that team, and somebody else actually knew, like, I don't know if they call themselves coaches or whatever, but she was basically like the coach. And he sent her a message and then sent me a link to her profile page. So I contacted her, and we chit-chatted a little bit, and she invited me to come try out. So everything was all set in motion. I was ready to try out. I was looking into the different gear I wanted to get, and then that's kind of when everything started going wrong. So first I saw the cost of the equipment, and I was like, oh, at the time, I had a bunch of young babies, 3 young babies. I didn't have a ton of extra money. Babies are expensive. I don't care what anybody says, how prepared you are. Babies are expensive. And you'll have to give me a second because my cat suddenly wants out. Okay, so she wanted out, but then she didn't as soon as I opened the door. So I had to make her go out because I know as soon as I sat down to film again, she would want out again. Okay, yeah, so babies expensive, equipment expensive. But then, I could see that you could find it used, and that was a little bit more affordable. And then the day I was supposed to try out, I think it ended up getting canceled for whatever reason, so I wasn't able to try out. And my tryout specifically kept getting pushed off. And then I ended up having this horrific injury, this knee injury, in which started, I think I have talked about, it happened with my embarrassing sports story, how my knee just would pop out of the socket. And this is the time where it started. There wasn't like a specific injury that caused my knee to start doing that, and I need to stir my wax. It's not wanting to pick anything up. There wasn't like a specific event. It's just weird how all of a sudden it just started happening, where my knee would just pop out of the socket and it would hurt. Now, when I think of the most excruciating pain, it was that, where it would pop out of the socket and then pop back in on its own. That hurt, and it would do it sometimes just repeatedly over and over again. Sometimes it wouldn't go back into the socket. And so then I didn't know that it was going to end up being an ongoing injury, because this was when it first happened. So I thought I must have slept funny or twisted somehow and just injured it. I had no idea it would be ongoing. So then I ended up writing her, and I told her about it. And then I told her that I would contact her again when my knee was better. And my knee just never got better. So, it wasn't that everything went wrong, but everything kind of did. Because everything was set in motion, but then everything kept coming up to not allow this to be a part of my life. So something, because before this specific video or documentary or whatever it is, I know that there was a movie that came out around the same time, and that definitely wasn't it that I watched. I didn't even know of that movie until after my dreams were completely shattered. I don't even know the name of the movie offhand, but it had been something that I had seen and heard of, and it sounded interesting for quite a while. It was this specific video or movie that triggered it, that got me into really putting in the work to researching and seeing if it was, something that could even be a possibility in my life. And then when it seemed like it was, that's when everything else started happening, where, okay, the equipment's expensive, I might not be able to do it. I could probably make it work if I, you know, just start out slow and get things here and there. And then I found a store, you know, it was where I get really excited, something good would point in that direction, and then something would happen that would completely derail everything. Like finding out the equipment was super expensive, then finding out that there was a store in my area that sold it and had used equipment, like an actual store in my area. It was a skateboard store, but they sold roller derby equipment. And they had used equipment for considerably less than brand new. So then I'd get excited again, and I'd, you know, think I could go and do the tryout, and then the tryouts wouldn't happen, and I'd be back to not being able to do it. And then on the final day when the tryout was all set up, it was literally like the day before or 2 days before. I want to say it was within 36 hours of my tryout is when my knee started doing that. And when it first happened, when my knee first started popping out of the socket, it was constant, like 5, 6, 7 times a day. Now it just happens on occasion. But when it first happened, when the injury first occurred, it was like constant throughout the day. And it was so painful, and my knee ended up getting so swollen. And it just, by the time I thought of it as a possibility, they didn't have any more room on their team. You know, that there's only so many spots, and even having backup spots, there's only so many. You know, it's a team that serves 2 cities, 2 decently sized cities, I would say. You know, my town is around 30,000, 35,000, and Duluth is 80,000 plus. So, plus all the surrounding areas that didn't have teams. So, by the time everything kind of worked out, it didn't work out. You know, it was just too late. And it's probably for the better, because my knee never recovered. And then on top of that, I ended up with an injury where my hip started doing it. Not completely coming out of the socket, but popping, I guess. Where you'd feel big, like when you crack your knuckles and you get that synovial fluid. That's what you're popping when you pop your knuckles. It would be like big pops of that in my hip. And at the time, I was so skinny, I was barely 100 pounds soaking wet. And so I just didn't have the muscle strength really at the time either to heal. I probably would have got hurt so bad. I mean, these girls, they're not big, but they're built, and, you know, they're not tiny little girls like me. You know, they could take a hit. I have a pretty high pain tolerance, but I don't know that I could have taken those hits. You know, they might not have hurt, like, physically, but I don't think that they would have done my body any good. I think that in the long run, I would have ended up hurting myself more and doing more damage to my body. So it kind of worked out for the best. I mean, I'm the kind of person, though, that I get my hopes up and they get up there. And so when things don't happen for me, I get completely crushed. And it's always been that way. You know, I get really excited for something, and then it doesn't go my way, and it just, you know, instead of just being like, oh, well, that figures, it really, I don't know, it takes its toll on me anytime, because to me, it's almost like a loss. You know, even though I never had this thing, it was something I wanted. You know, if you've ever been there, if you wanted something so much, but everything kind of worked against you having that thing. I was trying to think of a situation that I could describe, but there's nothing that it really compares to, and like the things that are coming to my mind aren't really comparable in the sense that this is nothing. And on this, like, the first thing that came to mind is somebody who wants to adopt a baby, but just doesn't have any luck, and it takes them years to get their baby, but that's on a grand scale that is, you know, my little story is nothing compared to somebody that, you know, is a mom without a baby kind of situation. So it's not like that, but that's the only thing that comes to mind that I can think of that would kind of explain to you what I'm trying to say. It's kind of like that, but not near on that emotional scale. You know, the baby thing, that's so much more of an important thing that me not getting on a roller derby team is not remotely like it. But it's just the only thing that I could think of that would try to kind of explain a little bit of what I was trying to say. But like I said, no, that I'm not at all trying to compare myself to a woman like that. That's not even close. That's somebody who wants a baby is way more emotionally involved, I guess. You know, I'm going to try to take my foot out of my mouth because that's not, you know, I hope you know that that's not what I meant. I hope you get that I was just trying to think of how to explain when you want something so bad and it doesn't happen, and the devastation that you feel from that. All right, well, why don't we just segue into a different story, huh? Something that doesn't possibly get everybody angry at me. I mean, I hope nobody gets angry at me for that. That's why I didn't really want to say it, because it's nothing like that. You know, it's not even on the same spectrum or the same scale. So, let's see. A vacation mishap. I haven't really went on a whole lot of vacations. Something that happened while camping. I don't really have bad camping stories. I don't really, they're just typical camping stories. So there's nothing I think that would be super interesting for you guys. Like, I guess one thing that happened, and it ended up, our whole camping trip just got ended short. Like, I think we were scheduled, I mean, once upon a time, we used to schedule our camping trips to be week-long trips. And this was during the time when we would do those week-long trips. Well, we had this site, and, you know, we never really check the weather or anything before we go. We don't plan around weather, which is kind of silly on our part. But that's kind of also why we go in late August now, because that's been the best time for us as far as weather goes, where we don't have a lot of weather mishaps. Because a lot of my camping stories where camping goes bad is because of the weather. And so we started going in like early August to mid-August, because you don't have to worry so much about thunderstorms and stuff like that. But at this time, I think this was July, and you do get a lot of storms in July, at least around here. So it was around July, and we hadn't really paid too much attention to the weather. We hadn't like checked the weather to see what it was going to be like or anything like that. And we had seen some dark clouds moving in, and we thought, oh, well, maybe we'll get a little early morning downpour, which is nothing abnormal. You know, it's something we can handle. We're all in tents, and we have screen houses that keep all of our stuff covered, and we keep our food and our equipment in totes so that, you know, it keeps the animals out for one, and for two, if it rains or whatever, we don't have to worry too much about our stuff getting destroyed. When we go camping, we also have like a million like pool floaties that we use, that the kids like to use out on the lake, like little boats and rings and chairs and all of it. And we probably have like 10 to 12 different floaties at any given time that are inflated. And on this particular day now, kind of setting the scene for you, big storm came in, and it was a big gusty storm. So we started out in tents, because that's usually what we do if a storm comes through. We just get in our tents and we wait it out. You know, usually it doesn't last more than an hour or two. It's only been one occasion where it lasted longer than that. And I think at that time we had a camper, so it really didn't even matter. This time we did not have a camper. So we were in tents. Well, it really started picking up in intensity, so we actually ended up moving into our vehicles. I don't know where my husband was on this trip. I think it was a trip where he couldn't stay. For the whole time, he ended up having to stay out just for part of the time, and then he had to go back home for work. So I just remember we were all in our tents, and then all of a sudden it just started picking up in intensity. So I hear my sister and her kids move into their vehicle, into their van, because that's what we have to do. You know, if it feels like your tent's gonna blow over, you get out and get in your vehicle, and that's how it felt. So then I heard my mom move into a vehicle. Well, my kids went in. I don't know where my kids went. They went into a different vehicle because we had a truck. So there's only room for me and my mom in the truck. So the kids were either in the van with my sister or they're in my uncle's truck that has like the extended cab. I don't quite remember. But all of a sudden, I just remember our pool floaties just flying all over. And you know, some of those things can be quite expensive. So all I remember is me and my mom running around in this storm, trying to gather all the floaties and throw them inside of... We usually have like a small like staging tent, is what I like to call it. It's like where the kids can go in and change or play by them. They were younger then, so they could go in there and play. They like to have a little play tent. And so I just remember running all over this campsite, gathering all these floaties, throwing them in this tent, and my uncle giving me and my mom a hard time. Oh, don't worry about the kids, just worry about the floaties. But at the time, the kids were already taken care of. So I remember it was so bad that we ended up, and it's like an hour drive from our campsite to our home, which isn't terrible, but not ideal. But so we ended up having to drive home and stay the night at home, and then of course by then nobody wanted to come back. My sister has to drive, I think, almost 3 hours to get to the campsite, and my uncle drives an hour and a half, something like that, maybe 2 hours for him. So my sister never wanted to come back, so we ended up packing up her stuff and bringing it home. So we ended up going out there, and that was the last year that we scheduled the camping trip for a week. I think ever since now it's only been 3 nights at most. I think that was a 7-night trip that we had planned. And it sucks when you get cut short like that. I don't know, that's like the most excitement that I've ever had as far as camping trips. I know there's been some where I wasn't there and my parents camped on, well, my parents were still together, they had camped on a hill, and because I think our camping trips particularly all started out as a way for my mom and her brothers to kind of get all of their families together, to be together as a family. And this was one of their first years, and I was 18 when they started doing this, so I didn't care for that. I had a different life at the time, and my parents always would I just had Gavin, my oldest son at the time, so they would always take him and give me some free time. Plus I worked full-time at Walmart, so I didn't always take time off, so this was one of their first trips, is what I'm trying to get to. And the site, it was a different camping area altogether. It wasn't even the same campgrounds that we go to now. And this was the last time that they ever went to this particular campground. And the site that they were on was on a hill. I want to say my parents were toward the top of the hill. And one of my uncles, at the time I used to have 2 uncles that would go. One has since passed away, so now it's just my mom and one of my uncles that go instead of 2 of my uncles. And my uncle that passed away was at the bottom of the hill, and I guess all of a sudden big storm came through and like a flash flood in a way, I guess it was. I'm struggling to remember the details because, like I said, I wasn't there, and this was 20 years ago now. And I think it was a flash flood came through, and I guess my uncle just woke up and his tent is full of water, and I couldn't even imagine how terrifying that would be. Oh boy. See, and I never really did like the camping trip with, twice I did, for one night with my friends, but I did try to do it when I was with my friends. I think I probably have more stories if that were the case, if they weren't like family camping trips. Like, I don't drink on my family trips. I don't drink anyway. I just have never been comfortable drinking in front of my kids. And I don't like alcohol in general. I don't like to feel out of control of my own self. So I never drank on our camping trips. But, you know, I think if I had did more friend camping trips, like for a couple nights, or drank more, I'd probably have more exciting stories. But mine are all weather related, of course. I don't know. I do plan on talking more about some of this other stuff in different videos, so I'm kind of struggling as to where to go next. Because I'm about done. I'm going to wrap up because I'm having a hard time seeing, and I can see that a lot of mine are not lining up because these lights are very blinding, so it's hard to see. So I'm trying to just finish off this area where, so you can hear them like popping in. I guess I'll talk a little bit about this particular diamond painting. It's really cute and I love it. Like I said, I think they did a very good job on it. And the colors are a little different than I thought. I thought it would be more gray, not so much brown gray. But I'm okay with it. It still looks super cute. But one thing that I've been having issues with is that the beads seem like they come from different, like some of them come from different companies. So like the main color that was in here, it was 841. It was like this brownie color, and I'll get back to that. It was one of the brown colors in here, and it was like the main elephant color. And the beads were just terrible. They were just like so misshapen. But then other packs of beads have been like no issues whatsoever. I don't have my garbage up here with me to show you, but there was so much garbage that I pulled out of that 841. And then like these ones I'm noticing too they're not quite round. They're very misshapen. So they're not very symmetrically round, I guess I should say is a better word for it. And I can tell that they're different sizes. I get kind of irritated with that when they're not super uniform, because that's when you're going to hear a lot of that popping, where I'm struggling to get them in place when there shouldn't be an issue on a round with that. You can run into that a little bit more with squares, and you have more wiggle room with rounds if they are misshapen. That's how I know that these are really bad. But that's the other thing too, is that from your vantage point, it just looks like one brown color and some grays and some greens in here. But this is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different browns of this shade, and then there's some darker browns in there, but they all look the same. Like, let me see if it'll let me show you easily enough. Probably not, because we're looking through containers, but let's see if I can get up close. But you can see that they are slightly different shades in the containers, but when you're looking on here, it's hard to see all those different shades. Like, and it's this color here I'm talking about. It doesn't look very brown on camera, but it's a lot lighter in real life. But they all look super similar. And it kind of was like making me wonder, like, why is there so many browns are the same shade. Why didn't they, you know, if they were going to do that, why wouldn't they just give you more 841s? Because that's like the, like I said, the main color. And then like, I don't know. And then there's like a lot of like the outlining colors. Some of these like darker yellows or more like, what's that color? Like rust colors. There's like, let me see, there's 1, 2, 4 of those too, but you can't tell that there's 4 different rust colors. So that's kind of been like the only real bummer about this, is that the colors don't seem to be too different for how many there actually are in here, which is a good and a bad thing, I guess. I'm super happy with it, so I'm not really trying to complain. I know that it sounds like I'm complaining. And we all know that I get extremely picky when it comes to these diamond paintings, so there is that. But I don't know, I just don't think that there's enough variation in the colors to, I don't know, to warrant having so many different colors. There's 23 colors in here, but you wouldn't even know it. Especially since I only have 3 after this color. I only have 3 more colors to put in, and one is a yellow, so then there's the, I don't know how much you're going to see, the red in this heart, and then the super dark brown color that are the words. And it's also kind of outlining the elephant, and it's down here in his legs. And that's the other thing, in his legs right here, this line right here, there's actually 2 color browns that make up that line, but you can't really tell. Even as I was placing them, I couldn't really tell a difference between them. So on that aspect, it's kind of a bummer, but not really, because I am so happy with this. I don't know, it's like it's hard to complain when I'm happy with the outcome. And I guess it does kind of help break up each color, and it allowed me to do one color at a time because there were so few that were actually used. And then the only other issue I've had with this so far, and I'm sure I'll repeat myself in the post review, is that there was an arrow. I'm going to see if I can find the actual symbols so I can show you. There were these 2 here. Nope, that's not it. These 2 symbols here. But on the canvas, this one, like the sides here and here, were almost not printed all the way. So then these 2 symbols looked alike. The only difference with them was that this one had a more of a green or brown background, and this one had a green background, but not, I don't know, like very similar in tone though. So it wasn't super easy to differentiate, but there was, I guess, enough of it that I guess what I'm trying to say is I had to pay super close attention to that so that I didn't place the wrong ones down. But I mean, ultimately, if I mixed a couple of them up, it's not going to be the end of the world. Nobody's going to even know but me, and I probably wouldn't even know. And I'm sure that some of them, because I did the actual arrow first, and then I went and did that weird looking M. So I'm sure if any of them got covered up by mistake, it would have been the weird shaped M with the arrow color, and they're so similar that I don't think it really matters. But I think that this is where I'm going to stop. Like I said, this is getting harder to see because they're not grouped together as well as the rest of them were. So I hope that this was a good video. And let me know what you guys think about the name for the Stitch With Me videos and all that stuff. I'm happy to be back. I'm so glad to be back. I have missed you guys. And stay tuned. When we hit 3,000, I'll start working on this stuff for the giveaway with 3 winners. So there'll be that. and start watching out for the different variety of videos that I'm going to have coming out. I'm really excited about the future of this channel. I'm excited to do it with you guys. And I'm going to say it for the first time ever. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that like button on your way out. And hit the bell notification so that you never miss an upload from me. And with that, I will let you go. Have an awesome day. Have fun diamond painting. Have fun crafting. Have fun doing whatever it is that makes you happy. I love you, friends, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.